Hello, my name is Keith Haswell and I'm a professional astrologer with 40 years experience in the business and over 30,000 clients worldwide. 150 YouTube videos up there now, more than 150 YouTube videos up there now on all aspects of personal and spiritual growth, and the chances are is that you've seen one of those videos, and that's what brought you to this particular video here, because you're ready now to make changes inside of yourself that you weren't ready to make perhaps even a month ago. This video is called Transforming Self-Sabotage. Now, just as a brief prelude to this, I just want to point out to you something that may go over your head, but it needs to be said anyway, and that is that you primarily are a soul and a spirit. And under the law of sacrifice, you've taken on smaller lives within yourself that are on the downward arc of evolution, the involutionary arc of energy, down into matter. And all of these little lives don't have self-consciousness. And because they're on the involutionary arc of energy down into matter, they're coming from the mental plane down on soul levels, and then they're coming down into the lower mental plane, the emotional plane, and the etheric levels. And these energies are out to bring their energies down. They grow by becoming denser. They grow by becoming more toward the physical plane, where eventually they can go onto the involutionary arc of energy and move into the mineral kingdom. But they're baby lives, and they are there within your body in their billions. Okay? And you have agreed under the law of sacrifice to give these lives opportunity for growth. And growth for them is down into ever denser forms of expression. So when the little lives that make up an emotion within your body expresses itself from love down to hate and anger and fear and anxiety and aggression and so forth, it's growing. It's becoming more of who it really is. It's fulfilling its task on the involutionary arc of energy. And so therefore, just to start off with, I just want you to know that you've got all of these little lives there within yourself that are not self. They are not you. They are aspects of you that you are giving an opportunity to become more of who they really are by that growth downward into ever denser forms of expression. So therefore, under the law of sacrifice, you've got a lot of little lives inside of yourself that are out to express themselves in much denser forms of expression than what you as a soul would normally choose to do. And that's what you've agreed to do under the law of sacrifice. Every one of us have done that. Now, you've been with me for some time now, perhaps, seeing a number of my videos and perhaps listened to some of my CDs, and in that process you have grown. You have expanded your consciousness and you have expanded your understanding. And you've done this long before you found your way to my website and started watching my videos and listening to my CDs. Through the work prior to discovering my website and my videos and my CDs, and even subsequent to finding my videos and CDs, you have grown. Though there is still more to learn, and there always will be, though there is still more to discover, and there always will be, even though there is still more expansion of consciousness to gain, it's time now to examine that which can undermine all that you have achieved, that which can erode the very foundation of everything that you have fought for and built up, that represents your newfound commitment. It's time to examine self-sabotage, and beyond discovering it and examining it, to transform the raw, often unyielding energy into something else, something more profound. It's time to transform that unyielding, unworldly energy of self-sabotage into lasting success. You see, upon your path of growth and spirituality and your path of metaphysics, amid your journey of growth and change, no matter how new or well seasoned that path or that journey may be, you have learned and you have changed. You have learned how to create success. And along the way you have also learned how to deal with failure. Self-sabotage is a form of failure, but in its way it stands alone. It is unique with its own environment, with its own conditions that make it stand out in a category of its own. Shrouded in mystery, self-sabotage threatens in a different way, and its threat is more ominous. Many in the world are reluctant to deal with failure, but in their own way and in their own time, everybody deals with failure. Many are reluctant to deal with self-sabotage, but ultimately self-sabotage deals with them. However, you are map makers, destined to create a positive future of dreams, destined to create a new world. Not just a new order to an old world, but a new world. As you more and more let go of the grip of the past, the threat of self-sabotage becomes even more important to handle. As you turn your attention toward the future, the threat of self-sabotage is more important to handle. As you are now set to create that virgin future, map makers and dreamers that you are, handling self-sabotage becomes of paramount importance. As your love increases, so does your fear of losing that love increase. As your ability to succeed and to build your dream increases, as the very presence of the dream increases, so the possible threat and the possible damage of self-sabotage increases. You know how to work with the past. You've spent decades working with the past, but you do not know how to deal with the future. Traditional failure is found in the past. Self-sabotage or non-traditional failure is found in the future. You know how to deal with traditional failure born of the past. You simply have not learned yet how to deal with the failure that is born of the future. The non-traditional failure of self-sabotage. Practice is over. As you become more enlightened, every thought and feeling that you have has greater impact. Just think about that. What I said to you earlier about the amount of energies that are going through you, activating all of those things there that are within you that are the not-self, those little lives that ensoul your emotions and your thoughts. All of those little lives are being activated with extra energy as your consciousness expands. As you expand your consciousness and expand your understanding, so you have greater amount of energy going through your chakras. And that activates all of these not-selves there within yourself, all of these little lives into greater activity. and therefore greater capacity to undermine your growth because their growth is to bring you down. That's the sacrifice that we have all made. The dark side of you now is playing for keeps, not consciously, but they're in their own way. Your martyr, which is one of these parts of your not-self, is taking off the kid gloves. Your self-pity has loaded their guns. They are not firing blanks anymore. You can be severely damaged and you can create critical damage to others. Practice is over. Therefore, it is more important to deal with self-sabotage for yourself, for those you love, and for your world. Making the map to turn self-sabotage into lasting success is now paramount. There are many in the world who are dreaming of the nightmare of crazy weather, viruses out of control, and rampant terrorism. But the dream will prevail. Imagination, creativity, and intuition are exponentially increasing. Portions of our brain and our DNA are being activated to reveal our true powers. Let us begin by looking at the uniqueness of self-sabotage. Why does it stand alone as opposed to traditional failure? In order to transform this kind of failure, it is important to understand its uniqueness. In many ways, self-sabotage is the great leveler. No matter how much or how little success that you have, self-sabotage can take away that success in an instant. Like the negative ego, it can destroy in minutes what has taken you decades to build. It doesn't follow the rules like traditional failure. It doesn't comply with the conventions. Self-sabotage can take you from the top to the bottom in an instant. Unlike traditional failure that works layer upon layer upon layer and can be arrested by diligence. Let's use an analogy of two people with $100,000 in the bank. Traditional failure can see the losses going 1,000 at a time until the gambling, for example, is arrested. Self-sabotage can be likened to putting the whole 100,000 on that sure thing and losing the lot in one go. Traditional failure gives you a mess that can be cleaned up. Self-sabotage creates a mess that nothing can be done about to rectify. You end up feeling sorrow. Things have happened that you cannot change. Quite often these energies of self-sabotage are connected to our sex drives. It can happen in a relationship where self-sabotage breaks the relationship up because of an infidelity, and it cannot be salvaged. You have done things that you cannot change and that you cannot undo. It brings sorrow and self-doubt. Self-sabotage is also unique because it is seen as a flaw. It is seen as a flaw and therefore is greeted with humiliation and shame. Traditional failure is acceptable and can be seen as something that can contribute to character. It is seen as a lack of intellectual awareness, whereas self-sabotage is seen as a weakness that could have or should have been avoided. Traditional failure is seen as a mishap of bad judgment. Self-sabotage is seen as a weakness or flaw. Traditional failure fits into the society's standards of acceptability. It has a logic and a reason about it. Failure has a certain order and structure. Even though they failed, they were valiant in defeat. Self-sabotage is seen as lacking in morality and shameful. It doesn't follow the rules of the dominant masculine principle in our society. What is the appearance of self-sabotage? Shunning, shaming, crouching, slithering, hiding. Another analogy is two tennis players. If they both play and one naturally has to lose, the loser can be seen as great in defeat. But in the case of self-sabotage, this player who loses his cool, tips up the water table, spits at the judge and curses the audience. That is self-sabotage. And even the victor cannot claim a victory because he didn't win, the other guy lost. Big difference there. Traditional failure fits into the standards of acceptability, but self-sabotage does not, and therefore it is unique. Another example is that traditional failure engenders understanding and correction to learn and benefit from the failure. It encourages new directions. Self-sabotage engenders judgment and condemnation. Self-sabotage also seems to come out of the blue with no apparent cause. That is because traditional failure comes out of the past, whereas self-sabotage comes out of the future. Self-sabotage often brings panic and a feeling of powerlessness and impotence. It also seems to have an aura of being out of control and everything falling apart. Finally, self-sabotage is unique because it is unfair. It doesn't follow the rules. Because of this, it is unacceptable. It is taboo. It leaves a grimy, slimy residue of sorrow and self-doubt. It is seen as a flaw, something that engenders humiliation. It seems to be able to strike at any time or any place at its discretion, not yours. Those who refuse to deal with self-sabotage end up being dealt with by their self-sabotage. Beyond understanding the uniqueness of self-sabotage, how do you actually transform self-sabotage into lasting success? First of all, it's important to understand its environment that fosters, that induces, that seduces self-sabotage. It seems to flourish in very specific and prescribed environments. And by being aware of this environment, you can avert that outcome. In order to transform self-sabotage, you first need to know the environment in which it flourishes. Once you know the environments, plural, you can then determine which one is yours. The first environment is symbiotic guilt. Symbiosis means bringing together otherwise disconnected entities into some form of union. For example, bringing together those who are of very different political opinions and views, coming together to support women's rights to abortion, for example. Another form of symbiotic guilt can occur within the realm of social injustices. I feel sorry for enjoying my success whilst others are starving. So groups come together under the guise of intimacy. Aren't we close? Aren't we tender? Aren't we loving? Out of a shared symbiotic guilt, and it is fertile ground for self-sabotage. Symbiotic guilt fosters self-sabotage. The second fertile ground for self-sabotage is denying your success and disowning your success. Disowning failure is what many of us do all the time. Oh, it doesn't really matter. I've learned from the failure. But when you are unwilling to own your successes by being unwilling to recognize that you did succeed, oh, it was just luck. The breaks just came my way. It would have happened anyway. You then enter the fertile ground of self-sabotage. You set yourself up for self-sabotage as a distraction from your success. You need to be able to recognize your success without disavowing, discounting, or denials. It doesn't mean going into your ego. Don't let your ego have better thans, or entitlement, or license. Reflect upon your failures by all means. Own them, admit them, and change by all means. But also reflect upon your successes. Own them, recognize them, and continue along your winning way. Otherwise you are prone to sabotage yourself, to deflect from your successes. You do this to justify your denial of them. The third condition that fosters self-sabotage is to own your secrets and own your shame. To recognize that these are not you, but aspects of you that have done things in the past that you are thoroughly ashamed of, but which cannot be changed. The key here is to own, not to deny these parts of self, but to forgive those parts of yourself and to change. As part and parcel of this third condition is to also recognize that you have changed and to own your successes. The dark side of yourself is to separate yourself from your past and from your secrets and from your shame by denial. You need to own those dark parts of yourself, but you also need to own the light parts of yourself, the beautiful parts of yourself, the loving parts of yourself, what we might call your positive secrets, the beautiful side of your being, the beautiful talents and gifts that you have developed within yourself, and the beautiful ways in which you have changed the lives of your loved ones and others through those gifts and by your love. You need to own and acknowledge your creativity and your talent. The gifts from God and Goddess that you have unfolded within yourself. Own them. Recognize them. Don't give them to your ego, but recognize that you are beautiful. You have a lot of gifts and powers and talents to give to those that you love and to your world. When you refuse to spend time reflecting upon who you really are, you set yourself up for self-sabotage. The fourth environment that fosters self-sabotage is refusal to let go of the past. Hanging on to patterns of behaviour that should have been left in the past, long ago. Refusal to be free of the past. It means that fragments of that past are then thrown into the future where they will demand change. The idea is to use that past to glean the treasures there within and to focus upon who you are becoming and not who you have been. The idea is to own your power. Accept your powers, strengths and talents that are gifts from God and Goddess. Gifts from the divine. Focus upon who you are becoming. Let go of the past and focus upon the future. That is the way to avoid the environment of self-sabotage. Now there's many other different environments too that foster self-sabotage, and there's many different ways and means that we do tend to self-sabotage ourselves, okay? But look, where you go from here is to get stuck into my intensives, because they will help you to understand how beautiful that you are. They will help you to understand the nature of reality and your place in that reality. An expansion of consciousness will help you to understand where you are going, who you are becoming, and the future, so that you can let go of that past, let go of that shame, let go of that fear, let go of that anxiety, let go of that pain and hurt. Let go of the past habit patterns of behaviour and stop clinging to those worn out patterns of behaviour. Change. Accept your gifts. Recognise the beauty and the wonder of who you really are. And put yourself through my intensives. Get your horoscope number 2 done by me, and you'll get thrown in horoscope number 1 free of charge, which tells you about your cycles over the next 30 months by the progressed moon and progressed planets, to do with your personal horoscope, not just generalities to do with your sun sign. That's very, very important. And then you will have a roadmap into the future to know when the testing times are in your life. And expand your understanding by having horoscope number 2 done, which is a beautiful 20-page printout all about you and you alone, from your horoscope, not from your sun sign. And then go all the way with me through my intensives by having horoscope number 3 done by me, where I can tell you personally with my voice and beautiful backing music all about your past and all about your strengths and your powers and your talents, and help direct and clear the vision to the future, where I can tell you about your goodness, truth and beauty, your powers, strengths and talents. And then go on into my intensives 2 and 3, which will expand your understanding to the point where you will say, how long have I deprived myself of this information that can help you to become all that you can be and more. Subscribe to my website, subscribe to my videos. I'm pumping out new videos all the time. And let's work together as a team and help you to let go of this unique failure called self-sabotage. Thank you.